folks. So, this is like my fourth or fifth take on trying to do this video to share this patent again with y'all. And I shared it before, like the beginning of this year, and that video is most likely buried in the algorithm. So I feel compelled to share it again. I just don't understand how people can be so ignorant to all of the data and the information that is available for us. And I just, in this particular patent here, it talks about a global type of weather control and atmospheric control and stuff. And this is from 2023, and the status of this patent is active. Some of these say that they've been abandoned, and all of these, PDF files that I have saved here. There's some of these patents that they say have been abandoned, but I call bullshit on that too. I don't think that they necessarily were abandoned and the idea was abandoned. I think it was just passed on to DARPA or some other black budget agency that's, doing whatever the hell they want and at the public's expense. But this particular inventor, Sunit Tyagi, I mean, there's so many patents that this particular individual has got. And a lot of it has to do with controlling things, battery packs, renewable energy, DC-DC power conversion system, power conversion for distributed DC source arrays. So some of it they're using for communications as well. But this particular patent, okay? And again, I'm just so frustrated. I get frustrated. That's why it's, taking me several takes because I've recorded this a couple of different times now. And I end up deleting it because I'm like, I can't upload that. I mean, I'm cussing like a freaking sailor. Every other word is a cuss word. So I'm, to those of you who don't like the cuss words, you're welcome for censoring myself and not uploading those videos and redoing it 5 different freaking times. Because I get to talking about it and I get frustrated and it just irritates me that there are still so many ignorant people out there that refuse to believe that they would do something like this. And it's like, they don't invest billions of dollars into these patents and into filing all of this information and getting copyrights and all of that stuff in place for to just sit on the shelf. I'm just saying. And we know they already got these systems in place. So what I would like to do is show you some current footage from our skies around here in Southern Nevada from the last couple of days. And I'm just going to read this abstract in the background, if you don't mind listening. Okay. So again, this is a patent from September of 2023. It originally was filed back in 2019. It received priority and it was published. Then another priority and renewal application was granted. And the status is active. And the adjusted expiration date is out to 2039. So 2039, they're allowed to play around with this patent. And I'm just going to read it to you. And there's some of you out there that know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention things like array systems and control stations. You know exactly. And, there's several other patents, method to influence the direction of travel of hurricanes. This was another patent from back in 2013. And again, I think that this is another one of those that had said that it was abandoned. But that bullshit. It wasn't abandoned. They didn't abandon it. All they did was just call it a different name and put it under a black budget and keep it out of the public eye. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm just going to read through some of this patent here. US 11762.126B2. You can look it up yourself. And it is a surface modification control stations, plural, and methods in a globally distributed array for dynamically adjusting the atmospheric, terrestrial, and oceanic properties. Here's the abstract. Surface modification control stations and methods in a globally distributed array for dynamically adjusting the atmospheric, terrestrial, and oceanic properties. The control stations modify the humidity, currents, wind flows, and heat removal rate of the surface and facilitate cooling and control of large area of global surface temperatures. This global system is made of arrays of multiple subsystems that monitor climate and act locally on weather with dynamically generated local forcing and perturbations for guiding in a controlled manner aimed at long-term modifications. So they are talking about long-term modifications to our environment using this patent. When do we get to have a say in it? Oh, I digress. It goes on. The machineries are part of a large-scale system consisting of an array of many such machines put across the globe at locations called the control stations. These are then used in coordinated manner to modify large area weather and the global climate as desired. The energy system installed at a control stations with multiple machines to change the local parameters of the ocean. These stations are powered using renewable energy sources, including solar and ocean currents, wind, waves, and batteries to store energy and provide sufficient power and energy as required and available at all hours. You don't say. This energy is then used to do directed work using special machines that can be pumps for seawater to move ocean water, either amplifying or changing the currents in various locations and at different depths. In addition, it will have machineries for changing the vertical depth profile of the ocean temperature, salinity, and currents. Control stations will also directly use devices such as heat pumps to change the temperatures of local water, either at surface or at controlled depths, or modify the humidity and salinity to change the atmospheric and oceanic properties as desired. The system will work in a globally coordinated manner, applying artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to learn from observations to improve the control characteristics and aim to slow down the rise of global surface temperatures. These systems are used to reduce the temperatures of coral reefs, Arctic glaciers, and South Pacific to control the El Nino oscillations. How many times did you hear the word control? In fact, let's just do a quick little search there. Let's just find on the page the word control. Oh, wow. 151 times the word control repeats itself in this patent. Folks, to those of you out there that believe that they don't have the capability and that they would never, please do some research. Please look into the data that is available to us from NOAA and from the weather stations and from these, that monitor all of these systems. I love this. I love this right here when they say stuff like this, because then this is where where we're told that they're just monitoring the weather. They're not influencing it. They're not trying to control it or anything like that. But this global system is made of arrays of multiple subsystems that monitor climate and act locally on weather with dynamically generated local forcing and perturbations. In case you don't know what perturbations means, let me look that up. Let's look up perturbations. What is perturbations? Let's see. Anxiety, mental uneasiness, a cause of anxiety or uneasiness, a deviation of a system, moving object, or process from its regular or normal state of path caused by an outside influence. They're selling it to the public and the science community as science for monitoring our weather patterns and our atmospheric rivers to help save us from what has been destroying us for the last 3 decades. And it's only going to get worse. The more ignorant people out there that are refusing to believe that they would use these things in our environment without our consent. You're part of the problem if you're still that ignorant. I'm sorry, not sorry. You're part of the problem if you are denying this science while acknowledging this false science that they are pitching to us in the name of science. You are denying actual science where they can actually use these control stations. They can use these Doppler radar systems. They can use radar dishes, lasers, wind machines, believe it or not. Okay? And right now they are cooking us alive out here in Southern Nevada. I know I've already said it enough times that we've had so many triple digit days in a row. We have not had any cool down at night for months. They are cooking us alive. And guess what's going to happen next when they lift that heat dome? When they lift that heat dome and they allow that atmospheric river to finally flow into the valley here, we are going to get flash floods like they haven't had in. And while I'm guessing that when the news reports on it and when it finally does happen, they're going to be saying, "Oh, this is a 1 in 1,000-year flood that went through and wiped out Henderson. Oh, look at the water district. The water district hasn't seen this much water in 180 years." Yeah, folks, they're setting us up here. They're going through, they're removing our green spaces, they're removing grasses, they're removing all of these plants and these trees that provide these buffering systems and these sponges that prevent catastrophic high flow rate of so what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh, I'm getting frustrated again. See, this is why I cut the video and I redid it, but I'm not going to do that again. Okay. Ultimately, they are going to cause worse flash flooding when they finally lift the heat dome and they allow that atmospheric river to flow into Henderson, Nevada, and into Southern Nevada. It is going to flood us so bad. We are going to have sinkholes. We are going to have the mudslides. We are going to have the same thing that is going on out there in the Southeast. when they finally lift this heat dome out here. And I can't express it enough to people that our government, and this in particular NOAA and the climateers and the scientific community, sold us out a long time ago. Look at what happened with COVID. Our public health officials sold us out to science. We were subjected to a massive science experiment against our will, without our consent, in the guise of saving as many lives. Well, that's what they claim they got to do here with their dynamically controlled array systems and their control stations. They claim that they're just monitoring it. They're just monitoring it. They're just looking at it, folks. They're not influencing it at all, right? Yeah, I mean, I just want to smack somebody for saying that. My gosh, I got to end this. I'm so incredibly frustrated with the ignorance of so many people. I mean, really, people are dying. People are freaking dying. And they really don't care. And I'm seeing comments from people talking about how we have all this proof that they're doing it. We should be able to hold them accountable and we should be able to sue them. Here's the thing about that, folks, in case you didn't know. Go back through my videos that I put up showing the steps that they took back through the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s when they were creating law and legislature, and they were getting together in all their little groups with all their so-called experts from economics and from all these different industries. And more specifically, they had lawyers. They had legal advisors in the rooms when they were discussing the process of using this stuff and how to combat any opposition, including having to take accountability for damages done and lives lost. They conspired, folks. There's your conspiracy. All these science climateers behind the scenes decades ago, conspiring in a freaking room without the public even knowing about ways that they can get away with doing these projects that modify our weather and alter our environment, and not have to take accountability when things go wrong and people get hurt and die. There's your conspiracy. Oh, I digress. Oh, man. I digress.